Hi everybody, Ernest Morrow here, Living Awake. I want to talk to you today about how to make decisions, how to make those choices in our life. How do we discern, how do we navigate these crossroads that all of us are presented with? How do we navigate our life so that it brings us into harmony with the greatest good for ourselves and for the world around us? And this is the stuff that we don't learn in school. Instead, we learn trigonometry. But maybe one day we can teach this to our children so that they grow up knowing some of these very, very practical and skillful ways to navigate in the world. And so this has been a big one for me. I get a lot of questions about this. I work with a lot of clients around this question about how do we choose, how do we navigate, how do we discern what the best way forward is, especially in situations that are complicated and unclear. And let's be honest, everybody, the world is, from one perspective, very complicated and unclear, and it's not sure. We don't know what one action will have as its effect, and it might go and affect the things the way that we think it will, or it might not, because this vast web of interconnected pieces is constantly in flux and in a dynamic state of change. So how do we then, as agents, as free persons, engage our will in the world? And this is a huge question because all of us have been conditioned to live our lives with our primary reference point being the world of form, the world around us, the world that we can see of tables and chairs, of ideas, of concepts. That's all form, folks. It's all what's outside of myself, in a sense. It's things that I can objectify, that I can grasp, that I can see, that I can think about. People, situations, events, jobs, you name it, families. And this way of interacting in the world isn't wrong. It's just not necessarily skillful. It's just not entirely efficient or effective in the way that we want it to be, because, let me see if I can sell you on this, what we're actually after is from the world of form is a internal experience, a formless experience. We actually are interested in the world of form in as much as it allows us, it activates within us a particular experience or feeling state. We want to feel peace, I would say, which is maybe one of the most universal human desires, is to feel at peace, to feel connected with myself and with the world and with others, to be joyful. Peace, joy, connection. And it's, in fact, that which is the essence of our true nature, is those things. They're already within us, and without all the accretions, the things that are heaped on top of that by our egos and our pain and our residue and our experiences and our beliefs, that is in fact simply the experience of being that we would have, because our true nature already is those things, peaceful and connected and joyful. And so I want to invite you to consider the fact that everything you try to do in the world of form, from buying that new car to getting that education to marrying that beloved to going to Burning Man to attending the political rally to cheering on your favorite football team, all of it is actually aimed at activating within you a particular experience of being alive. And we are hardwired, in a sense, our divine DNA, our holy core is activated, is attracted to, is set up as a little satellite dish which tracks these states let's not call them states, the aspects of true nature. They're not states because they don't come and go. All states come and go. So we're actually hardwired to desire peace, love, connection, because that's who we are. And where we find that, if we truly find it, the real thing, we will find ourselves. We will find God, actually, and those two things will have intersected, ourself and God. Jesus says, of course, famously, that the kingdom of God is within you. And this is what he means. This is what he means, that the kingdom of God is actually within you. And it is this kingdom, the search for this kingdom, the knowing somehow deep in our essence, our bones, our DNA, that it's there, that takes us out into the world. And it takes us out into the world in search of that kingdom. But the kingdom is not to be found in the world of form, because the world of form changes. That's its nature. And that's not a problem. For most of our current human history, we have understood the world as a problem somehow, as if the constant state of flux of things arising into form, being born, and then passing away or dying is a problem. Somehow it marks this world of form out as broken, as less divine, sometimes even as evil or fallen. But that's not the case. The case is that the nature of the world of form, its God-given nature, is to arise and to pass away, is to come together and then fall apart. That's how it's meant to be. That's not a problem. But where the problem begins for us, or where the suffering starts, is when we connect with the world of form, looking for it, hoping for it, managing it, investing in it in a way that we hope that it will be the kingdom. But the kingdom is within us. Your deep redemption, your deep peace, your deep salvation, your deep awakening, whatever word you want to use, is actually an activation of something that's already alive within you. It's a formless dimension of reality. And we have this world of form outside of us with which to have a conversation, to have experiences, which, if we can wake up and do this skillfully, is like the most brilliant teacher for us, guiding us moment by moment to experience, to connect with, to contact, to rest deeply into the true nature that is already within us. And so we have to see that the world of form in its rising and passing away is a different dimension than the formlessness that we are really oriented towards. Because any particular situation that arises in the world of form, whether it's for 1 second or 1 hour or 1 day or 1 year or 1 decade, will eventually pass away. There is nothing permanent in the world of form on the level of form. And this means that when we make decisions, we are best served by understanding that it's not the thing itself in the world of form that we are after. While beautiful as it might be, we are after deep activation of that peace, that joy, that connection that actually exists within us. And that anything that elicits that in the world of form is a beautiful, beautiful gift, and yet isn't the same thing as that internal reality. And so when we think about our lives, it's really not the new car, right? It's how the new car makes us feel. It's what that activates inside of us. It's not even the particular triumph or success or achievement. It's what that allows me to rest into within me. I'm okay. I'm lovable. I'm good. I'm at peace. That's the experience that most of our lives are aimed at trying to create within us. But we're trying to create it by managing the world of form in some way, by trying to get it to wrestle into shape in such a way that the new car comes, or the woman of my dreams arrives, or I make $1 million, or whatever it happens to be, or my football team wins the championship by my fervent support, or whatever it is. And so when we try to activate our internal experience by means of the world of form, we're setting ourselves up for a roller coaster. We're setting ourselves up always to have a moment, if that, of contact, and then as soon as that changes, because the world of form will change, then we're back down at the bottom and we have to do it again. And this is the signature of the ego. This is the egoic consciousness at work. Is trying to activate, to find in the world of form what actually cannot be found out there, because it exists within us. And understanding that even when we do find what we want in the world of form, it's what we want because it actually is eliciting within me the experience, the feeling, the vibration that I know to be true on some deep level of my being. And so everything changes when we realize that actually what's primary is my internal reality. What has to be a priority is actually the experience of being alive that most excites me, that is my entire purpose for being here. And it comes from inside of me rather than outside of me. And this gives us a very, very clear path to making decisions. Because our decisions then are oriented towards an internal reality rather than an external reality. And let me be very clear, it's not about denying the world of form. We are incarnate beings, we're in bodies, we are interacting constantly with the world of form, and we must. And these decisions that we're making are part of this dance we're doing with the world of form. But everything changes when we realize that this dance that we're doing with the world of form can be informed by my most inward reality, my heart. And this is, in a sense, how we actually follow our hearts. And I know that I've gone on rants about just doing that, and here's really kind of the engine to do it. How do you follow your heart? How do you make these decisions? How do you choose in the world of form? And the way that we do that, we access that wisdom. And that seems esoteric, but it's not. It's not about doing 1,000 prostrations on the holy hill and getting a download and having the right angels arrive with the information. It's simply by opening to it. And this is this dance between the masculine and the feminine, this opening. And so what we're going to do is we're going to open and receive, and then we're going to act. We're going to open, we're going to act. We're going to open, we're going to act. And the locus of leverage for our lives, where freedom, and the only place that freedom exists, is in this moment. And so we must arrive in this moment. We must make our decisions. We can only follow our hearts from this moment. And so here's my invitation to you. One of the signatures, perhaps the signature of following our heart, can be encapsulated by love. Another way to encapsulate it is freedom. Another way to encapsulate it is peace. And each of us have a different relationship with that reality, and we approach it or connect with it in the deepest way, sometimes a little bit differently. For me, it could be love. For you, it could be peace. For somebody else, it could be freedom. So I want you to invite you, another joy even. I want to invite you to choose whatever one of those pieces works best for you. But I'm going to use love because I think it's almost universal. And the question that I ask myself to follow my heart, to make these decisions, is this. If I completely loved myself in this moment, what would I do or what would I say right now? That's the question. That's the inquiry. That's the contemplation. If I completely loved myself in this moment, What would I do and what would I say right now? And then I open and I allow whatever it is to come to me. And in this moment, it's going to be very simple. It's going to be very, very simple. It's not start a family. It's not build a business. It's one achievable step in this moment. It might be make myself a cup of tea. It might be have a bath. It might be finish that letter. It might be go find my beloved and talk to her. It might be play with my kids. It might be buy that domain name. It might be call my business partner and have that conversation. It might be write out the next steps from the vision that I want to do. It could be any of those, but it's just going to be one thing. It's going to be achievable in that moment. And then you do it. So open, ask, open, and act. Ask, open, and act. In the moment. In the moment. Not what would I do in 5 minutes. Not what would I do in 5 days. Not what would I do with my life right up here into the head. The mind will think about that all day and not give you anything to work with. But if I completely loved myself right now, in this moment, what would I do or what would I say? And then I do it and then I say it because that's what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for that inward experience. And so it's not if I wanted that car, what would I do or what would I say? Because you really don't want the car. The car is completely peripheral. What you want is the feeling of completion, of peace, of power, of intimacy, of security, whatever it is that car might activate within you. You don't really want the car. But what you do want, that holy desire, is that heart orientation within you. That's what you want. You want to love. You want love. I'm pretty clear that that's universal. You want to feel alive. And one of the solvents here, one of the ways through, if I truly loved myself right now, what would I do or what would I say? If I truly felt alive right now, what would I do or what would I say? If I was truly at peace right now, what would I do or what would I say? If I was truly full of joy right now, what would I do or what would I say? If I felt connected right now, what would I do or what would I say? And you see what we're doing here, folks? We're not saying I'm already there. It might not be true for you. We're not doing a spiritual bypass here in which we have to deny how we're actually feeling. We're saying, if I were already, right? I might not be feeling love, which is maybe why I want to be in the field of love. I might not be feeling at peace or joyful or connected, but I know I've gotten clear that that's actually what I want. That's what I deeply, deeply desire. That's the holy desire within me. That's God within me wanting to be in deep contact with the essence of who I am, which is intersection with the essence of all that is. And so I ask myself that question, if I were, and this is this beautiful prefrontal cortex that humans have that are able to ask that question. What a gift. So often we villainize our rational capacity, but this is when we're using it in service of love. And we're playing this if I were game. And then what we're doing is we're following these breadcrumbs moment by moment. Each moment, if we actually access it, this is where karma dissolves. Karma can't get into the present moment. This present moment cannot be defined by what has come before, cannot be conditioned by it if we're in it. If it's just a means to an end, we're not really within the present moment, and the whole karmic conditioning continues to have its hold on us. But right now, in this moment, I can ask, if I were already feeling completely loved, if I already loved myself, what would I do? Or what would I say? And then from that place, we act. And from that place, what we do is we sow the seeds of peace, of joy, of love, and we will reap peace and joy and love. We're not reaping, we're not sowing scarcity. We're not reaping, if I only had, if I only, another ego game. If I just. What we're doing is we're reaping the fullness that we're sowing. So, I commend this to you as the practice of following your heart, as the practice of making the decisions that you have to make, aiming, orienting towards that formless reality that is the truth, that is the ground out of which we really want to be alive. Rather than putting our only hope in that external reality of form whose nature it is to change and to fall away. The new car will become old very, very quickly. It might even get a flat tire or have a fender bender or break down. And then what? But rather, moment by moment by moment, if I were already at peace, what would I do? What would I say? I'm going to sow that seed. If I already loved myself. God bless you all.